Joining me now is Sky News Washington analyst Annelise Nielsen. Annelise, welcome to the program. Well, lots of news happening on the international front. President Trump met with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping yesterday in Busan, South Korea, and the pair announced a historic, well, I don't know if it's a trade deal or a trade agreement or a trade, hey, let's not have this fight now. Annelise, what do we know about what has been agreed so far?
Well, look, nothing in writing. And so I think what you said at the end there, let's not fight now, is pretty much where we're at. But that is a development of sorts, because this has been looming over America for some time. We've already seen a lot of flow-on effects, quite a few flow-on effects, I should say, from the tariffs coming in earlier this year. And there were supposed to be more coming in November 1st. So this is at least a détente. It shows that they do want to work together. And it shows that Donald Trump really does just want to replicate what he did the first time around. And he's aware how significant it would be if things were cut off from China more significantly. American consumers do rely on so much from China, and it would be a real hit to their quality of life if it was taken away from them. There's a big chunk of the American population that says they're happy to do that because they want to support American made, they want to support American jobs, but a lot of people will feel that hurt, and that's obviously something Donald Trump just doesn't want to put into play right now. And I think also with him just making that Truth Social post about saying that it's going to be the 2G meeting, that's really elevating the US and China to being those two big superpowers. And so I think that was a message to the rest of the world as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with that completely. But one of the things that I thought was very interesting, too, is that there seems to be, at the moment, a one-year time limit on this, that Xi Jinping has said, well, we're going to kick out any sort of restraints on rare earth minerals exports for a year. At the same time, you're going to have allowances for soybean farmers in the U.S. to get that access to Chinese markets. A year from now is the midterm elections. Is this about trying to delay any economic pain coming from a trade war with China until after those midterms? Because, of course, Donald Trump wants to hold the Congress, and if he doesn't, then his whole agenda could be crueled 12 months from now.
Look, that would be very much front of mind. Donald Trump doesn't want to lose control of Congress. It's already, they're having a hard enough time as it is with the government shutdown continuing. But I think for those who watched the last time around, they've been saying, look, the deals they made last time fell apart within a matter of months at best. And so there is every chance that this could fall apart. I think with the critical minerals piece of it, the advantage is still there for China at this point in time. They own most of the critical minerals that we want in the world, and they own 90% of the processing. And even with all the money that we've now said is going to be put online for Australia to be processing and cultivating rare earth minerals, selling to the US, and the US buying from Australia, we still rely on Chinese processing. So I think this is just them keeping their own side of the ledger in balance for the time being and saying, we'll work with you, but they're still not giving away much yet. And the other thing we didn't hear about was what's happening with this TikTok sale. They've said that the Chinese have approved for the part to be spun off to be owned by the US, but that's a big deal here as well. We saw some really intense lobbying about that. And so there's a lot of goodwill, it seems like, from this first meeting, but not a lot of detail yet.
Well, it seems to me, that for as much as there's rhetoric around decoupling the economies of these two nations, the 2G superpowers, I guess you'd say, they seem to be getting more and more enmeshed, whether it's about who processes whose rare earth, who sells agricultural products to whom. Is commerce potentially the great sort of engine that could head off a hotter conflict between the U.S. and China, i.e. neither nation can really afford to go to war with one another because they need the other too much?
Absolutely. And what we're looking at is, when we've been talking about the rising tensions politically between the US and China, the thing we always talk about, especially in Australia, is China's ambitions to annex Taiwan. The only thing really stopping that is semiconductors. And the US knows that they've tried and they don't know how to make the semiconductors the way the Taiwanese do. The Chinese know the same. And so that's very valuable in between. And that's, of course, also influenced by rare earth minerals. And I think there's also just this element from the US that they just don't want to be involved in overseas conflicts. We see Trump relish in stopping overseas conflicts. He says he solved 7 out of the 8 wars on his watch, and he's got just Ukraine and Russia left. And so there would be zero appetite for the US to have to get involved if China wanted to annex Taiwan. I know at a retail level in politics in America, no one would be very excited about that. And so I think they've all just realized what the cards that they have are on the table. And if Donald Trump is going to take a hit for the economy, you're right, he wouldn't want to do it before midterms. He'd probably want to do it on his way out, but he also wants to leave on a high this time. I think that's still smarting for him from last time around.
No, I think that's right. Hey, finally, before I let you go, though, you know, for all the talk of peace and amity and doing business together, the president also announced before his meeting with Xi Jinping that the U.S. Department of War is to immediately begin testing nuclear weapons on an equal basis with other nuclear powers. Now, this seemed, you know, at first it made huge headlines. Oh, my gosh, are they going to be having, you know, mushroom clouds in the desert again? Well, not so much. But tell us about this and what the aim of this particular bit of, I guess you'd call it saber rattling, is here. Who is this targeting? Is it aimed at Putin? Is it aimed at Xi? What's the audience for this message?
Well, it did seem to come right after the Russians announced that they'd conducted their own tests. They've developed nuclear missiles that can go underwater to target coastal towns. I tell you, where we are in Washington, D.C. isn't all that far away from the coast if we're going to start talking about nukes. So I think there was just that, well, if he's going to flex his muscles, I'm going to flex mine. It doesn't make a ton of sense if you're not actually testing new technology. And so without them saying we've developed something new we're going to try out, it really does seem like it's you show me mine, I'll show you yours kind of one-upping. And this is the Trump approach. He says he has peace through strength and he doesn't want to look weak. That has worked before, but I don't know how popular it's going to be testing nukes. They haven't done it in the US in 30 years. And I was reading that apparently the only state where they can actually do it logistically is Nevada, which is something of a swing state. And so I don't know if Trump would want to do that too close to midterms either. It's really far out in the desert, but apparently it could shake some buildings in Las Vegas. So I don't know if that would be all that popular.
I don't know. In the old days, back in the 50s and 60s, you know, they used to have atomic parties at the Las Vegas casinos, and you could sit on the roof of the big hotels and watch the mushroom clouds go. Annelise, Nielsen, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.